voice.
Do you want to do the clapper?
You do the clap, mate.
Oh, thanks,
go on.
thanks.
You do it. Enjoy it.
Hello and welcome back to the Cinema Rules Podcast, Episode 2.
Did you enjoy that?
It's so satisfying. So satisfying.
Take one.
Take one.
Hey, Ben Shaw.
All right, mate.
I wanted to start off with a question.
How?
Because I got this idea in my head today because someone was talking about it at work and they said it was really weird.
Okay.
Have you ever been to the cinema by yourself?
Yeah, I literally went this week.
Did you? I
Yeah.
knew you went by yourself. But this person asked saying this question today, we were debating about it because I've never been to the cinema by myself.
Have you not?
I really haven't.
I
no.
absolutely love going on by myself.
Do you?
Yeah, I went to see Civil War back like this year.
Oh yeah.
And
I thought you meant this week, but that's
no,
been
and
long
then
gone.
this week I went to see the Bikeriders.
Right. So yeah. So you did go by yourself to see the Bikeriders, but
I did.
Is it? You've been? Was that the first time when you went to see Civil War by yourself?
No, I've been a couple of times. I can't remember for what films, but there's
always-
something comforting about it.
Oh man, I've always wanted to go by myself, but there's part of I've just never have.
It's because you have a family, Tom.
Yeah. So I've got
People that love
to
you.
take them along. I mean, yeah. No, I think I'm gonna make it my mission in the summer when I'm off work to go to the cinema by myself,
Do it.
every now and again, just
Do
to get. And I really want to go to those. I wouldn't mind going to those like early morning showings as well, when there's no one around and you can like fully embrace yourself. It's just you in the cinema.
I mean, people say you might feel weird or creepy or like a loser going on your own, and you might feel that. But for me, I don't feel that at all. I go in there and I don't regard anyone else.
Yeah.
To be fair, when I went to see Civil War, no, actually, when I went to see Bikeriders, well, both actually, there were a few people that were in there on their own. There was like two or three men.
Yeah, I think it's not uncommon, is it?
No.
I think there's just a bit weird. Sometimes there's a bit of a social stigma around it. Would you go to a restaurant by yourself?
That's a different story.
Why? You're still enjoying something, taking pleasure in something.
I have been to a restaurant on my own before.
Yeah.
And that was when I was at work, and I went to Frankie and Benny's on my lunch break, and it was the worst lunch I've ever had. The food there was shockingly bad.
Right.
But I wouldn't necessarily.
They don't advertise on our.
I'll just have a takeaway if I was to have
same
food on my
thing,
own. Yeah, there's no point in really going on my own restaurant. Have you?
No,
Yeah.
I haven't been to the cinema by myself, but I will go, and I'll let you know my full and detailed experience of going to the cinema by myself and what I think.
Do it.
Yeah, but I haven't seen your review yet of Bikeriders.
No.
So can you just like summarize it? Obviously, no spoilers, but
Once this podcast episode is out, so will the Bikeriders review. So go check that out. But my summary is it's good.
Is Austin Butler the new movie star that they're trying?
I think so.
To get him to be.
I think so. I talked about this in my review. I think I was a bit concerned about his range in other movies, and it's very easy for people just to be stuck with in their mind that he's just Elvis.
Yeah. Now I saw Elvis recently, and I actually really rated it, and I liked Baz Luhrmann, and I do think what some people worry that his range is a bit cartoonish, especially after Dune Part 2 with his kind of his villainous character.
I wouldn't categorize it as cartoonish. In this movie, he kind of plays a very subtle character, and you as the audience member is trying to like figure him out and like his past, and everyone does really well in that movie, I think.
Yeah. I think he's a new. I think one thing we've been lacking in cinema lately are these new movie stars. Do you know what I mean? Because the characters of superheroes, they say, have been replacing the actual traditional movie star.
Yeah.
And I don't think movie stars have always necessarily it's been a good thing to have them. But do you know what I mean when I say like Tom Hanks and George Clooney and Brad Pitt and they're movie stars? Aren't they? But I think anyone out of that film Dune Part 2, like Florence Pugh, Zendaya, Timothy Chalamet, Austin Butler as well.
Yeah,
they are the ones that are coming up to be these kind of movie stars.
Would you say Tom Holland, even though he's known as Spider-Man?
I wouldn't, no. And do you know why? Because he's done Uncharted. He's done lots of...
He's actually doing an Uncharted 2 as well.
Uncharted 2's been announced. He's done lots of Spider-Man films.
Yeah.
But whenever he's tried to play a role outside of that, I think he did one called Cherry or something like that.
With the directors
the
Russo brothers, yeah.
I don't think he's reached the same level of critical acclaim as these other ones have. Maybe it's that he's waiting for the right role.
He hasn't really put his stamp on it.
But I don't think his range as an actor or performer is to the same standard as those other ones. Maybe we just haven't seen it yet.
He was really good in Impossible when he was a younger kid.
Yeah.
And I do think I think he's a good actor. And I think he has the potential to put his stamp on it.
The problem is I think he's been playing a high school kid.
Yeah,
in too many films.
And when you play Spider-Man, it's really hard to get out of that. I know, because Tobey Maguire, you don't really see him as anyone else except for Spider-Man.
Well, even like Robert Downey Jr. is an absolutely amazing actor, and yeah, he does amazingly as Tony Stark, doesn't he? But it took him a while to separate himself, and until he relinquished that role, I don't think he's found the opportunity to do that.
And Tom Holland's still young, so he's got a massive career ahead of him to distinguish himself. Yeah.
But you recommend Bikeriders?
I do recommend Bikeriders, and I wanted to ask you this question.
Go on.
So one of my critiques about the movie
is the title, the Bikeriders.
No, it's not that. It's and it's not. It's just a personal preference, really, because a lot of these types of movies, and you can associate them with gangster movies or just biopics that are telling true stories or a story.
Is it a true story?
Yeah, it's a true story,
right.
and are telling stories that go on for a long period of time, like decades. They're told with a narrative thread, or they're told through a formula of where a character within that world tells a story through an interview or a voiceover,
right?
And it comes in and it comes out.
Ones.
So it comes into the story and then it pulls you back out, and it's the character talking about the story and what goes on next.
Yeah.
What is your opinion of that? Because I feel it works. It's a formula that works, but I feel that it's playing it a bit safe, and I'm a bit bored of that formula now.
I don't know, because off the top of my head, I can't really tell you. I know a lot of films do employ voiceovers, and sometimes it's that kind of gruff and grisly voice, isn't it, that's retelling the story. I do like them because I think it makes you empathise and emote with the character and their experiences, especially in historical biopics. But I can't really think of one off the top of my head that uses one.
Goodfellas,
yeah.
Have you seen Goodfellas? No. I knew you hadn't.
Oh, you got me. No, there are a lot of ones that use them, aren't there? But I don't have a problem with it as a narrative.
I think I've probably seen too many.
I think it's more common, and it's become cliche in that gangster genre.
That's what I'm saying.
Criminal genre.
But even just biopics in general.
Yeah. Oh, you see
because
does
Elvis have one?
I don't think so.
Okay. Because with Bikeriders...
See, that's the problem, isn't it? I think maybe if it does it well, you don't recall it. I don't know.
That may be, because with the Bikeriders, I just felt that I was a bit more invested in the story when the story was happening, and I felt myself being pulled out of it when they were reverting back to the narrator, and I was just like, get me back into that world.
If you know the narrator's still speaking... Although there's been a case where the narrator's been speaking... There's been cases where the narrator's been speaking and they still get killed off. So
true.
Like, it never boxes you in, I would say.
Yeah.
You should still have that tension and suspension.
Have you been to the cinema this week?
I haven't. No.
You should be supporting your local cinema.
I know, we're going tonight.
We are going tonight. We're going to watch A Quiet Place Day 1.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it, man. Perhaps too excited. I was going to ask you.
Calm your
I know, because I sent you a review, didn't I? And you were just like, chill out. I tried to stay away from the reviews.
And it's IGN as well.
They gave it 9 out of 10, I think, IGN. But they're a game news source, so who knows. But do you think we put our film-going community, so when I say film-going community, I mean fans of film that are really into pop culture, film, TV, do we put way too much emphasis onto things like Rotten Tomatoes and film scores? Should we just not until we've seen it ourselves. Because I think far too often these days we create, or reactors, or maybe not reactors, reviewers, critics, create little seismic waves where people have already decided that a film's bad or good before they've even seen it.
I also think, and this is quite important, I think most people are scared to share their honest and raw opinion about something.
And that's something we've tried to always shy away from. We always give we've never shied away from. I mean, we've always
never
given our
shied
full
away.
opinions.
I hate Suspiria.
Yeah,
all right.
Sean hates the original Suspiria. We got absolutely shafted for saying that RoboCop was an okay film. like it's okay. It's RoboCop.
Oh yeah, we got absolutely obliterated with that, and still to this day we get comments. I think we lost a lot of potential subscribers because of our opinion on that.
Yeah, it's an alright film.
It's a good film. We said it was good.
We said it's a B movie. It's an enjoyable film. I don't think it was exactly the kind of Christ-like religious metaphor that people say it is.
I prefer
I get
Starship Troopers.
Yeah, because it's far more on the nose with the satire, isn't it? Maybe that's just... Yeah, but we've never shied away from saying from saying what we like and what we don't like. And I think a lot of people, like you're right. I think a lot of people won't offer their actual opinions on it.
A lot of people will just go with the crowd. And people, when rating the movie, I think they'll think about, what will the average score be on IMDb or Rotten Tomatoes? And I'll just shoehorn my rating into that because I'll just blend in.
I always try and base my opinion on a film on how it makes me feel before I actually criticise the filmmaking of it. Yeah,
I guess so. Well, talking about feelings, this is a very... good transition,
Segway.
And I'm butchering the transition as I continue to speak right now. But talking about feelings, I also went to see Inside Out 2 at the cinema this week.
Was that a by yourself one as well?
No, I'm not a creep.
10 a.m. with the school kids on Saturday.
Yeah,
I've heard really good things as well, but Pixar's coming out of a bit of a dip at the moment, I think, in terms of their critical acclaim.
I can see that.
They've said that they're trying to go back to doing more sequels again. But is this a good film? Well, I don't even know. You offer your opinion in a second.
Yeah, I haven't done a review on it yet, but Pixar have got a really good track record of producing really good sequels.
They have. But I've also seen Cars 3.
Yeah,
not 3. Cars 2.
I'm ignoring Cars completely because you're not gonna like Cars unless you're a car person, I think, or if you're like a 5-year-old. But for me, Inside Out was a brilliant concept, and they took it to the next level, and I think they achieved it really well.
Really?
Yeah, I thought so.
I thought from the trailer it looked more of the same, and you're adding additional characters, which can be a bit like you take what the first one's good and you just do the same again but bigger.
No, so
it isn't always, because one Pixar film I was incredibly disappointed with was The Incredibles 2.
See, I remember liking that. I only saw it once at the cinema, but I remember liking it. I need to revisit it.
Yeah, maybe it would be worth revisiting, but I don't remember enjoying it half as much as I like the first one. I think the first Incredibles film is one of Pixar's best films.
You have to remember, though, when the first one came out, it was when we were much younger. Yeah. So it probably affected us much more.
Yeah.
Because, it was like 15 years until the sequel came out?
Do you know what I wanted them to do? I wanted them to retain that gap with the characters as well.
Yeah.
But it went straight off the first one.
Yeah.
I remember it being, not as enjoyable. But maybe as a kids, like you say, would have enjoyed it more.
Yeah.
But Inside Out 2, was it as emotional as the first one? Because the first one I remember being really
choked up
at some point.
Well, the first one, the concept was about core memories. Yeah, and losing those core memories.
Yeah.
And sadness being too overwhelming.
Yeah, and growing up beyond the kind of experiences of just joy and sadness and disgust and so on. You actually grow and become more mature with your emotions.
And then this movie is obviously, she's hitting puberty, the main character.
Yeah.
So hang on a minute. So what happens there is, instead of the core memories being the concept, it's this belief pool
Yeah.
So they take memories and they put them in this pool, and it creates a belief. And they strum these strings, and it will say something like, if I don't make it onto this team, nobody will like me.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And I thought it was very interesting as a young adult. It's very true to form. But then you introduce new characters like embarrassment, boredom, and anxiety.
Yeah. My fear was that are they going to trivialize emotions and feelings like anxiety? Like, is a terrible crippling thing for some people, and I didn't want them to like trivialize it in a kind of cartoonish way and present it in a way that.
I was talking to someone about this after we finished watching the film, because I feel like feelings and talking to kids about feelings, it's very,
important.
It's very important, and if you get it wrong, you could screw up a kid. So I was trying to figure out the message of the movie, and I think eventually the message is not to bury your feelings, because if you bury your feelings, whatever good or bad, they'll come flooding back, and it will become too overwhelming.
Yeah.
And anxiety is essentially the main villain in this movie, but it's not the you can sympathise with.
But
the villain.
Unintentionally, so,
you can,
Okay, yeah, I like that.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I'll definitely give it. It's worth a watch.
I think Pixar films were always great when they walked that line between having that nice moral message for kids, but also being able to be read by adults and appreciated by adults as well.
Yeah.
Like some of those original Pixar films, like Toy Story, the original and the second one, and
The third one and the fourth one.
No, the first two are just on another level. I mean, some of the other original Pixar films as well. I'm trying to remember.
In Monsters Inc.
Monsters Inc. Amazing film.
Yeah.
Incredibles, as we said.
Yeah.
The original Bug's Life is underrated as well.
Yeah.
Like, it's a play that was actually a Magnificent Seven, which was a Seven Samurai kind of not spoof, but reskin.
Yeah. Reskin.
But yeah, and then I think recently they've made some bad decisions where they've gone straight to Disney Plus and they haven't embraced the cinema as much.
I've got a question. Can you tell? So back in the day, back in the 90s, you could tell that it was a Pixar movie because Pixar were the only studio really doing what they were doing. Can you tell nowadays? Can you distinguish between a Pixar movie and any other animated studio movie, like Moana, like Shrek? Or...
I still think you 100% can.
And
for what
reason?
You 100%
for what reason?
And I think Pixar has the emotional intelligence. Yeah? Okay? If you watch Despicable Me... I think there's Despicable Me 4 coming out. But if you see like a Minions film, for example, I think they aren't as emotionally intelligent. You still get moments in those films of sadness and of where you're empathy and where you're feeling for the characters and things like that. But I don't think...
It's more weighted towards entertainment.
It's more weighted towards entertainment, and I don't think it's necessarily as emotive. DreamWorks had some good runs though. They still made some good ones, but again, I think they went on towards that side or segmented towards that side. Disney animation is more kind of musical, I think, with Moana and with which one was it recently that was really popular? Frozen, obviously. There's a Frozen 3 and 4 coming out.
Oh Jesus!
They're going really heavy towards the sequels. Moana 2 is coming out as well as a live action Moana. Yeah. But yeah, that's what I would say. Do you agree or do you?
No, I agree, and I also think because I went into it thinking, what distinguishes them now in terms of quality of animation as well. And when I watched Inside Out 2, my answer was instantly given to me. The answer was instantly given to me because there's a level of quality that Pixar bring with animation. And not to say that Moana, Shrek, Madagascar, those types of movies aren't good quality animation, but Pixar movies, it's a sense of like they're almost more cinematic. So I could describe it as like the bokeh behind, the bokeh, like the.
Used to be kind of event films in a way, didn't they? When I say event film, they're films that everybody sees, aren't they? And that you rarely get a lot of them these days. But yeah, no, I see that. Did you see the Pizza Van?
No, I didn't.
Or the number. What was the number on the door of the original
Oh,
one?
it was like A307 or something like that.
You didn't see it?
No, I didn't see it. I was not looking out for it.
Yeah, I imagine they'd be in there, but...
Yeah. No, it's interesting. But yeah, those are the two films I watched at the cinema this week. So, the fact that we started this podcast because we were like, we don't go to cinema anymore, and this week I'm going to be going to this, 3 times after today.
Yeah. Well,
I'm loving it.
My thing this week is that I've been binge watching TV. Absolutely binge watching, which I always feel slightly gross about when I do. Are you a binge watcher or are you watching segments?
Binge watcher, definitely.
When I say binge watching, I mean I've been watching 3 shows.
Yeah.
But like 1 episode of each a day.
Which one?
2 that have already been out for a while. Fallout.
Yeah. Have you not seen Fallout?
I haven't finished it yet.
Oh my god.
No. 3 Body Problem.
Oh yeah.
You say that, mate, but
I've heard meth things.
You haven't
about
seen
it.
it?
I haven't seen it. No.
Oh, it's really good at the moment, but I'm again halfway through it. But for me, it's walking this line between fresh, and I know it's based on a book, but fresh and imaginative science fiction with a philosophical emotional questions as well.
Yeah,
be like it's an intelligent watch. I've already said that about Pixar already, haven't I? But I like it sometimes where a film makes you question your own beliefs or what you think's possible in the world or the universe and things like that.
Yeah.
And then with my wife, I've also finished and binge watched Bridgerton season 3. Have you seen it before?
Nope. I've
and there'll be some people. I'm sure there'll be some people in the audience will be like, "Jesus!"
I've seen
Christ,
one video
go.
of it, and it was a TikTok.
Or Bangerton, as I call it.
Yeah, I've seen one TikTok of it, and it was a parody of someone taking the mick about them initiating sex and taking like an hour to take off everything,
and how the characters interact. And I actually think every season is like the same story, but reskinned for the romances with other characters. And this is a series that's based on books as well.
Jeez.
But I was getting into it, man.
Ooh.
I was getting into it as a do you know what I mean when I say popcorn film or popcorn TV show? Like, you're not watching it for those kind of intelligent philosophical questions or debates. You're watching it for the kind of time. the aesthetics of it, or
I see.
Or the
value.
fun of it,
the
fun of it, right?
Yeah.
But it's absolutely massive.
Yeah, no, I know.
Absolutely massive. I think it is
so popular.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Isn't it the final season though?
No. They'll go for 10 seasons, I reckon.
Okay.
They'll say the next one's not out for like 2 years because it takes so long for them to do. But it's actually like the 4th because there was a spin-off, I think. But so everyone's like, Tom's a secret Bridgerton fan. But I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's their biggest ever show.
Really?
Maybe Stranger Things might be bigger.
Yeah, I can't imagine
or
anything
even like
Stranger Things.
House of Cards when that was originally out, but I doubt it. I think it is their most popular show.
Wow.
But give it a watch, Sean. It might awaken something in you.
I've only just started to know
romance.
what Bridgerton was in the past like couple of weeks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It only just came into my peripheral.
Really? Yeah. Well, it's probably algorithmic as well, so you don't get it put to you because of what you watch already. But I'm also loving Fallout. I know I'm a bit late to the bandwagon there, but
I loved
what
Fallout.
I love about it is obviously it's based on existing IP already, but it's got its own world and lore that's fresh
and new characters
and the aesthetic of the 1950s with the music and it's like an alternate reality there.
Good.
It's
so
really
good.
cool.
Absolutely love
really
it.
Cool.
I've been watching. Sorry, no,
I was just saying I love shows that have anything to do with the 1950s and 60s as well. I rewatched part of 11/22/63.
I love that
Stephen
show.
King adaptation. I know James Franco's. I don't know the ins and outs of it actually. I know he had some kind of problematic thing where
with minors.
Oh really? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Well, you've ruined it for me.
I know.
I'm not going to watch the rest of it. I'll tell you what. I'll read the book instead. Do you have the book?
I don't have the book.
No,
No.
I'll read the book instead. But the aesthetics of that show and the 1950s and 60s with the alternate kind of reality timeline, I really liked.
I love that movie, that TV show, because I just came across it. I didn't even know it was Stephen King. It was just playing, and I thought, I'll sit through the first episode, and I just got addicted to it.
Yeah.
But
that's more Stephen King's story and writing, probably.
Yeah,
isn't it?
no, definitely. But the aesthetic is what grabbed me as well.
Of Fallout.
Yeah, no, of 11/22/63.
Yeah, and with Fallout, I was thinking, I think the new pool that is going to be sapped by studios and streamers as well is going to be video game adaptations.
Yeah.
Obviously there was Halo on. I haven't watched that, but I haven't heard good.
I heard season 2 is actually much better than season 1. I also saw a trailer to the new game Elder Ring, and I think I was watching that. I was thinking they're gonna have to produce.
Well, I think that's partly written by George R. R. Martin, isn't it?
Is it?
If you had a game then that you would adapt, what would you go for?
Well, like a few years ago, I would have said Uncharted, and I probably still would say it now because the first movie wasn't as good as I wanted it to be.
But everyone says that Uncharted 2 was their favourite as well.
Is their favourite?
So give them another go, man. I reckon give. I know Tom Holland's too young, and he doesn't really embody the character.
No, it's not. It's not even that. That wasn't even the problem for me. The problem was the movie tried to do all of the games in one.
Yeah.
And just like The Last of Us, who, by the way, were the same creators as Uncharted, follow the same formula. Just follow the story of the game, because that's why everyone loved the game, because the story was so solid. And I don't have a problem with Tom Holland doing it. It was just the way it was executed. I wanted it to be an old school Indiana Jones, but they can't even fucking do that anymore, Tom.
Indiana Jones can't even do that anymore.
No, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Films. That's what I'm saying.
But yeah, no, I see what you mean. I'm quietly optimistic that they will learn from the first film and make the improvements that they need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm watching 3 shows at the moment as well.
Go on.
And I don't want to make this about a TV podcast because it's obviously cinema rules, but I'm watching The Boys, season 4, and I've
heard it's to come off the boil a bit because I'm only up to season 2. But.
Yeah, it's okay. It's still entertaining. And the problem is I've actually forgotten where each character was mentally and in the story, so that doesn't help either. The Bear has just come out, season 3. Have you seen?
I've seen season 1 or most of season 1 of The Bear because again I was late to that one. Absolutely
Love that show. As soon as it came out, I was like, I'm binge watching this. I've only watched 3 episodes though, but Jesus, that show is just so good. The quality of that show is so good.
It made
anxiety.
My heart rate was elevated when I watched season 1. I was like,
you hadn't seen anything yet. I was like,
season 2. I was like, I have to pause this for a bit.
Season 2 is on another level.
That is good, isn't it? When a film or TV show can affect you in that way. Now, I don't like to say anything bad against TV because I think we're in a period now where TV is as cinematic as film. It's just 100%. A longer format, which changes your viewing experience a bit, and obviously you don't necessarily see it in the cinema.
Yeah. The thing I love about The Bear though is like half-an-hour episodes, but the quality's still there.
Yeah.
Compare that to other half-an-hour TV shows that are mostly just comedies, half-an-hour TV shows. 20 minutes, some of these episodes, but it's a drama. And
you can do. I just love drama, man. I love it. Like we don't have to talk about it too long, but episode 2, House of the Dragon,
and that's the third TV show that I'm watching.
Yeah. Episode 2, I thought took it up from episode 1, and I really liked the character interactions. Some of it was fast-paced drama, like at the end of the episode. No spoilers, I guess, but
no, we can spoil that.
Okay,
when
podcast.
Wait,
spoiler alert. When the twins fight at the end, Sir Eric
that was
and Sir Eric.
I was just like...
And I just love it, because you don't know what's happening. I was turning to my wife at the time, and I was like, at the start of the episode, I was like, who's going to die in this episode? Because I knew. Yeah, I know. It annoys you that I know.
It ruins you for yourself.
No, it doesn't, because I'm waiting to see it, and I like the way it plays out, and how they both think they're doing the right thing. It has divided the kingdom, not just metaphorically, but literally in families as well. Yeah. Like the eye for an eye thing with killing each other's sons, but also twins killing each other.
I know.
The drama was physically great, but even between the families as well, like between Damon and Rhaenyra, they had that little tiff, didn't they?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I thought the ending fight with the twins was brilliant, and I even at the end when he stood up, I was just like, who is that? who survived? Because I was just like, I can't tell. And then he falls on his own sword, and I'm like,
I almost wanted them to do a bit where like, I'm Eric. No, I'm Eric. Like, he's lying. Like the Spider-Man meme.
Yeah.
But it is great, isn't it? Like, you even got what you wanted from the first episode that you didn't get, where you wanted a moment for Aemond to be regretful of what he did.
Yeah.
And there was a brief moment where he was being weirdly, nakedly cradled.
And he was just like, I do regret killing him. And I'm just like, it doesn't sound like it. It sounds like you're just a psychopath. Sociopath. With no feelings whatsoever.
But he did mention, didn't he, they used to bully me when I was young. And we forget about that.
We do, but like, to what extent did he get bullied? I know they've removed his eye and all, but come on, get over it. It was like 10 years ago. A
few new characters coming into it as well that are going to spice things up a bit, I think. But the standout for me of this episode was Rhys Ifans. Who's Sir Otto Hightower when he got banished.
Yeah,
I think he's a great actor.
Oh, can we just talk about Sir Kristen Cole for a fucking minute?
Sir Kristen Creep.
Yeah, so
coined it here.
I'm sorry. In season 1, everyone was like, "Oh, I hate this guy," and I was just like, "I actually really like him because he's interesting." But after this episode, man, I was just like, "This guy's a dick.
He's the hand of the king."
I hate him now.
Oh, and when he was talking to one of the twins and tried to blame it on him.
When his own insecurities.
With the queen.
Yeah, his own insecurities, his own mishaps, his own failures. He's trying to project on other people. I was like, that was the moment. That was the moment where I was just like, "You're a dickhead."
He's slimy as hell.
Yeah.
But I'm so excited to see where it goes. I think they're just going to keep ramping it up. Although, did you catch that they mentioned when he got banished, he said, I'm going back to Old Town, which is where the High Towers are. I'm going back to the tower or whatever. Yep. You have another son there.
No, I'm pretty sure it was a cousin, wasn't it?
No, he said, you've got another son there. Darion. Which is a character in the books, but they never put him in the first season.
Right,
so
I see.
Aegon, the king,
yeah,
and Aemond,
yeah,
with the one eye,
yeah,
have another brother who also has a dragon, and they did mention him because I thought they just got rid of the character.
I see,
but they did mention him, so that means there can be another one that comes in as well.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And does he have white hair?
Yeah,
he's a Targaryen.
Yeah. So the third youngest one. So that's annoying, isn't it? Sometimes people don't spot it or hear about the characters. But
yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that'll be interesting.
Yeah. Bringing it back to film.
Yep.
My most anticipated film. I now know what it is.
What is it?
Upcoming film. Robert Eggers' Nosferatu. Did you watch the trailer?
I didn't watch the trailer.
Oh my god!
Shall I watch the trailer?
Watch the trailer right now, mate. Right now. Watch it now.
This is a little. I guess this can be a little. Bit of a back to old school. We'll put the
we can put it on the visual for the visual podcast on YouTube, can't we? Nosferatu. Robert Eggers. So he directed films that we have reacted to. The Lighthouse.
Oh my god! Oh yeah, Robert Eggers is directing this.
He directed The Lighthouse. What other one did he do? The Lighthouse
and The Witch.
And The Witch and The Northman. This is his new film.
I haven't seen The Northman.
Yeah, Nosferatu, obviously an old black and white silent horror.
Yeah.
But we'll just watch this trailer now, man.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
That's Lily Rose Depp.
Oh, yeah. I like the vibe already. Oh, I love the aesthetic, man. The aesthetic looks insane.
Willem Dafoe as well as his staple.
Yeah.
Was that Aaron Taylor Johnson?
Oh, that's
a hand.
Yeah. I don't know the story of this, you know. So don't tell me.
Right, but it's traditional old vampire.
Yeah.
The look of it,
it's so good.
Yeah.
Well, Robert Eggers has shown that in his previous movies. I don't think they.
And that is a shot
from the original.
That is a shot that is a homage to the original
Yeah.
black and white Nosferatu, the silent film. I think, oh my God.
They couldn't have picked a better director to direct that movie.
I watched The Northman, and I don't think it was his best film. I prefer The Lighthouse and The Witch. The Witch is on another level.
Yeah. I don't know. They're different. I think The Witch is extremely slow. Well, they're both extremely slow paced, I guess.
But he's written and directed this, and it just looks great, man.
Yeah,
it looks so good.
Like I said, they couldn't have picked a better director because he likes to do those. What would you call them?
Atmospheric horror, I think.
Atmospheric, but timepieces almost.
Yeah,
like time periods.
Yeah. So they're kind of almost like historical fiction in a way as well.
Yeah.
But I think it really sells you into the world that he's creating when he embraces that.
You know what film that I'm very interested in seeing?
Go
on. Trailer came out recently, and it's very intriguing. The movie Here.
Right, I knew you were going to say that, and I was going to mention that as well. So this is Robert Zemeckis, director of Back to the Future,
Forrest Gump,
but also Forrest Gump
and Castaway.
Reuniting,
I love it, yeah.
Reuniting with Tom Hanks,
and the writer of those three movies as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Who was the writer? Man, right.
Let me just check 1 second.
I agree with you, but I just got one problem. I've just got one problem with the trailer.
Eric Roth is the screenplay writer. He did Dune Part 2.
Man.
Forrest Gump, Killers of the Flower Moon, Mank,
so he's got
of Benjamin Button,
he's stacked, isn't he?
And also Robert Zemeckis.
So he's the director, yeah.
He's the director, but he also wrote it.
Yeah. I mean, I love Robert Zemeckis. I think some of his films are absolute cinema classics.
Yep.
But you tell me what you thought first.
Well, it looks like one shot.
So the whole film,
one fixed shot
is a stationary camera for the entire
Which
film.
is what makes me intrigued, so intrigued about it, because have we just seen the whole movie from the trailer?
Well, it reminds me very, very much of one of the only films you gave 10 out of 10 to on the channel, which was A Ghost Story, filmed in one place. I don't remember it being stationary camera.
No, A Ghost Story wasn't a stationary camera.
You did have at the end, going through time with the cycle, and you see what happens to the house and things like that. I love Tom Hanks, man.
Yeah,
I think he's one of the best actors ever.
Yeah,
but I've never seen a film where the de-aging has sold me.
Yeah, that's the issue. That was one of the issues that I saw from the trailer as well.
It pulls you out of it sometimes. And I know it shouldn't, because it's still acting, but it takes a lot of chops to be able to perform young if you're already old.
I agree.
In The Irishman, you could see sometimes the age coming through their performance despite them trying to be young.
Now, I didn't watch The Irishman. I can only really talk about, and I think it's probably one of the best cases of de-aging, which was the Indiana Jones recent movie.
Yeah, but I still thought it looked uncanny.
No, so I thought moments you just could not tell, and then there were other moments where it was you weren't watching the movie, you were just watching the de-aging. However, I understand why it would bring people out of the story, and I can understand why it would affect the acting and people's opinions on the movie or the performances. For me, I love the fact that we're in this experimentation period. I see it as art pushing the boundaries.
Isn't there a film?
So
was it Boyhood?
Boyhood, yeah.
Where they actually did grow up and they didn't obviously need
they filmed it over a 17-year period.
Yeah, well, I think there's another one that's being done that's being filmed over like a 50-year period or something like that. Yeah, but I can't remember.
Yeah.
But it might have been the same director even. But yeah, I'm intrigued. It looks emotional, man. It looks
for me, that's
emotional.
what I like. I like something spanning, over time, if it's done correctly, if the pacing's done well, because I just, everyone can relate to it.
I find it very difficult. For me, it's a very difficult watch, those sort of things that are about like family and death and the inevitability of it and things. So I feel like it might be something that's too what's the word, heavy.
Yeah,
for me personally, but
I think the beginning of the trailer where it shows the dinosaurs and stuff, I don't know whether that's needed.
Yeah.
Like, what's the point in it?
Yeah. And the fact that they call it here as well, is it going to be over reliant on the concept more than the actual story that we see?
Well, are they gonna extend that time period from dinosaurs to the future like they did in a Ghost Story?
They're going to segment it. Is it going to be chronological, or is it going to be flitting between?
Potentially.
The last time Tom Hanks did something structurally weird like this, it was Cloud Atlas, where he played lots of different characters.
Yeah.
So I do like how he's experimenting, and I can't wait to see it. But
yeah. What other trailers came? There was quite a few trailers that came out this week.
There was the Penguin one for the TV show. There was one called Red One, which was Dwayne Johnson Christmas movie, that is with Chris Evans.
I haven't seen it.
It's like a action family film where Santa gets kidnapped and Dwayne Johnson has to like rescue him with the help of Chris Evans.
Yeah.
It looks a bit
meh.
I haven't really been too much of a fan of Dwayne Johnson, really.
No.
But I do like the look of the one he's doing. He's doing an A24 film about a wrestler.
Yeah, that is a bit more on the subtle side rather than an action superstar type of role for him. So I'm intrigued about that as well, to see what acting range can he bring to the table.
Yeah, there's also because
there's that meme going around with Dwayne Johnson where it's like 4 images from 4 different movies, but he looks exactly the same.
Yeah,
he's in the same shirt. It's like, name these 4 movies and you just can't.
Yeah. I think he's a good actor. I just think he chooses projects
that appeases to the general,
trying to appease the general audience. Yeah, like your Fast and Furious audience.
Yeah, which is fine.
Yeah, it was like Jumanji, Jungle Cruise, and
by the way, Jumanji 1 and 2 were very good movies. I thought.
I liked the first one that they did.
Yeah.
But yeah, did you see? It's been announced. I wanted to hear your thoughts on this. It's a kind of TV thing, but it's movie related as well. They've just announced the showrunner and director for HBO's Harry Potter remake.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
HBO Max. They're doing a season for a book, for every book.
Right.
And it's a guy that's worked on Game of Thrones.
Okay. Interesting.
Do you think it's a good idea?
What, that they're
remaking it already?
Remaking it. I've only read a couple of the books. And towards the later seasons, you get a lot more depth in the books,
and a lot more.
Yes, no. I've only read a couple of the books.
Yeah,
and I think that you get a lot more depth in terms of story
when
arcs,
you read the books.
That are just in the book.
Yeah.
You get a lot more characters that have story arcs within the books that are just not mentioned in the films at all. So I think to build out a world, I think it could be interesting. I'm interested to see people's reactions to who they cast as the main trio.
I don't see the point, man.
No, I don't.
That's
the thing.
See the point. The original films are so great. They did a good job. I know the 3 they did with Fantastic Beasts were a bit meh.
We touched upon this subject matter in the previous podcast episode of oversaturation.
Oh yeah.
Studios haven't got the balls to produce anything original except for maybe A24 because they don't have a proven track record of earning any money, which is fair. It's a business at the end of the day.
But that annoys me because that means we'll never get a Back to the Future. We'll never get a Raiders of the Lost Ark. We'll never get like something new and original.
No, I 100% agree.
If you want to do like a young adult series of books, there are so many out there.
Yeah.
That that don't have adaptations or got rubbish ones to begin with. You ever heard of Aragon? Remember that?
Yeah.
That's a great series of books, but the film was rubbish.
Yeah.
Do that.
But I just think, it's inevitable that they're going to do this with Harry Potter. They're doing it now with Lord of the Rings, and I just don't want them to fucking touch Lord of the Rings, man. I don't. Hobbit was teetering on the edge.
I said on Twitter one time. I worked out with some fans, I think, that Back to the Future is the only franchise
that they haven't touched.
That hasn't been either sequelized or prequelized.
But
or
a few years ago,
spin-off.
A few years ago, Tom Holland was approached with the idea, "Oh, would you be up for playing?"
Yeah, I think that was more of a fan cast.
No, it was. But whenever you hear that, you know, I can guarantee you that would have some rumblings through the industry and some consideration.
And I bet Robert Zemeckis has been approached. I think he has said actually that he doesn't want to ever.
And I think Tom Holland also said that he wouldn't want to.
Yeah,
he said it would be cool, but I think he said he wouldn't want to live up to that.
They're staples, aren't they?
Yeah.
So I just can't be bothered with it. Like, I'd rather read the books.
I'll see what they've got. I'll see the trailers.
Yeah.
I'll maybe watch one or two episodes. It might be absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah,
because of the world building.
I think
that they're able to achieve.
I don't think you can top the cast of people like Alan Rickman that played Snape and.
True.
And
it's just gonna be.
Have you been to Harry Potter World?
I haven't.
The studios tour.
No.
It's so amazing.
Yeah.
Man. To see the practical effects, the models that they built for the castle, the creatures that they built,
the
love that went into it, like the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I don't, because they have a tour in New Zealand, don't they? I don't think you can top it.
I don't. The thing is, they're trying to recapture, pun intended, the magic.
Yeah.
And how can they when they only were able to recapture the magic for the first time because it was the first time?
Yeah. Can we segue into a question here, actually, from the YouTube community?
Yeah.
Because you put out a thing today, which was, if you've got any questions, let us know. We'll answer it in the show. There's been quite a few now. Someone's put, John Hales has put, "Hi guys, loving the podcast. My question is, if you could watch one film that you've already seen, but have it erased from your memory, so it's like seeing it for the first time, what would it be?" But I had to add on to that. We'd have to be the age we were when we initially saw it, right? Yeah, it wouldn't work, would it?
I think so.
So what would yours be? You see one film again, and it can't be Shrek Forever After.
But why?
What would it be?
Mine would be a toss-up between... it's a difficult one. I think it would either be Schindler's List, dark and heavy.
Yeah.
But one of my favourite movies of all time. Jurassic Park, again from the same director. But I can only remember watching Jurassic Park 3 in the cinema and the feeling that I felt then. So maybe Jurassic Park 3, even though it's not the classic, it's actually probably the weakest one of them of all three. And then potentially Interstellar. But also, because I remember me and you in the cinema.
I can't actually watch Interstellar again. It got me too much.
I remember
I
remember being in the cinema with you watching Interstellar, and when he comes back and he's like, "It's been 29 years." Me and you turned to each other like, "What the fuck?" So I really enjoyed that moment. There's so many. My earliest, one of my earliest memories of being at the cinema was when my dad woke me and my brother up at midnight on a school night to go and see Attack of the Clones at the midnight release.
And Yoda comes out.
And I remember the crowd cheering. But
you're like, as well. When you're young like that, man, my one that I could never top, ever, it didn't matter what film comes out, was, because I was a kid, was that the Rohirrim charge in The Return of the King. Like that moment, man, where they're charging down to like Minas Tirith, and he does that speech and he's clanging all the swords, like...
Yeah, I went to see
the feeling that you feel when you see that.
Yeah, I went to the cinema to see that with my whole family, including my grandparents, and it was my
when I was
young.
That's what it was, and this was back when in our cinema you pay for seats now and you get that seat, but you had to be there early to queue up. Didn't you?
Yeah.
To queue up, and the queue would go out, and
you would have to try and find a seat because there was no bookings. And my dad still says to this day, he's like, because he paid for everyone. He said it came to like, with food and drinks, and he said it came to like nearly like 300 quid. 300 quid, like over 200 quid. But yeah, so yours would be Lord of the Rings.
Mine would be that, yeah. But I've had great experiences watching films by myself at home. Like, there was a film called Silence with Martin Scorsese. I think I've mentioned it before. A film called The Way Back that I really had a great experience watching.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's too many to think of. I'm trying to think of.
I think for Lord of the Rings, I think there are certain films where I've appreciated over time.
One film that I really felt that we watched on the channel, which I gave 10 out of 10 to, was 1917, right?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't the entire film, but it was the climactic moment where he runs over the trenches, and because the film's like one shot, it's been building up.
Yeah, you feel this emotion. I actually
felt my heart pumping for the film.
Yeah.
Like there's moments like that.
There are so many. Comment down below what film you would want to see.
Yeah. Have you got another question?
Yeah, I can pick a question.
What about this one here?
Go on then.
How much experience do you have watching international films like Bergman and classic directors like Bergman, Kurosawa, Fellini?
So Bergman, I know he did The Seventh Seal, which
was
one of my favourite movies.
We did a playlist, didn't we, that we reacted to? I think we called it Foreign Directors.
It's just foreign films.
Foreign language films.
Yeah.
And we watched Bergman's The Seventh Seal on there, and that was great. That was really good.
But that's the only... I don't recognise the other two directors.
We watched
Kurosawa. It wasn't that... what film was that?
Not Seven Samurai. The one that was A Fistful of Dollars.
Yeah.
That was taken on...
Oh, I can't remember. It's
bad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really bad.
But it was a good film. My only problem was we'd already seen it, and it was called A Fistful of Dollars.
So it tasted our experience.
We should have watched Kurosawa first. I thought it was good. We watched a lot of foreign horror as well, and some of them, like Ju-on, The Grudge, Battle Royale. I think the Wailing. Remember that one? I think foreign horror is really good, and we need to watch a bit more of it in our own time.
Right, I've got a question.
Go on.
Zion McCrae, if you could live in any fictional film universe, what would it be?
Now, it's difficult because you don't want to die, so it can't be Game of Thrones.
Star Wars, mate.
Yeah, but would you be a Force wielder, or would you be like a Gungan?
I would
like
be
Jar Jar Binks. Like, do you have a choice of who you are in this film universe?
I would obviously be one of the bears in Endor Forest. The what are they called? The
the Ewoks.
The Ewoks. Yeah, I'd be an Ewok.
Yeah, you would be. You are that size.
Yeah, that's why I said it.
Yeah, I'd be a Sith Lord.
No, you'd be Jabba the Hutt.
I walked into that one, mate. I absolutely walked into that one. I don't know, a fictional world or universe. Maybe the Marvel universe. I feel like that'd be quite cool. Yeah. As long as you don't get snapped.
Just
by
not
Thanos.
as a superhero. You're just the average folk that
gets
rubble
saved. Yeah, or Harry Potter or something like that. Something where you've got lots of power over other people to do good things.
Yeah.
The Force. I've always wanted the Force, man. So it'd be Star Wars, wouldn't it? Let's be honest.
I've got another question.
Go on.
Trupexus 9097. If you could make your own film, what would it be? Genre, a small plot synopsis, era/time in which the film takes place, etc. I grant you all the money you need to produce and any actors you wish to star in the film.
That's long.
That's a heavy question.
That can take a whole podcast in itself.
Okay, don't answer all the questions. We'll keep that question and we'll focus. We'll do that. We'll answer it in more detail next podcast.
Yeah, okay.
But
we can
give us a brief.
I would 100% start with horror, right? And we've mentioned Robert Eggers at the beginning of, well, not the beginning, like partway through this video, and I want to do something that's historically set in that vein. Okay. Like I had a concept that I was writing a script for recently, or just playing around with writing ideas for, where it's kind of like a bottle horror thing, where I took inspiration from Evil Dead, but not as comical. Yeah. So it's like a possession kind of demonic, like, on a ship. But like a 1950s like steam ship. Yep. And like there's a crew on board and different things happen to different characters. And essentially it kind of mimics like, have you heard Dante's Inferno or Dante's like Circles of Hell? Yeah. Where it's constantly going around the sea. They can't get to land, but different horrific things happen at different points. That it's kind of like metaphorical. Sounds horrendously put. I couldn't put it into detail there, but I've always been intrigued with doing like not doing originals as well, but doing like adaptations of certain like literature that haven't had good film adaptations in the past. Yeah. Especially like I love gothic horror as well. Yeah. The reason why I like Nosferatu, but I love gothic horror. I think there's so much you can do visually and aesthetically with practical effects as well. Yeah. I'm guessing yours would be horror as well.
I've got 3 in mind. So the first
I know there was a sci-fi one that you were thinking of.
So the first one is a prequel to an existing movie. And I told you, and it was of a film we reacted to recently, which is 30 Days of Night.
Oh yeah,
and it would be the prequel. The prequel would follow the story of the stranger that comes into the town, and his role on the ship that he escaped from, and how that ties into the story. So that would be the first one. Second one is actually probably the book that I'm writing. Relating to a man who kills a woman and hides the body, and it's taken from his perspective, trying to avoid being discovered. But his wife is a police officer. Yeah. I think that whole dynamic is very interesting to me.
I love original ideas.
And then my final one would be a potential loose adaptation of a true story. I say true story because it's a conspiracy theory. So there's a guy called Bob Lazar who claims to have worked within Area 51. And he's actually,
go down the conspiracy theory rabbit hole.
And he's got this convoluted story of him working on alien aircrafts and these like gravity pulse systems and cores, and but then his wife cheats on him, and he gets in trouble with the FBI, and they tap his his apartment and stuff. It would be loosely based around that concept. It wouldn't be the exact story, but he brings his friends and shows his friends, them testing these UFOs in flight. But I think that would be more suited towards like a mini series.
Yeah. You can play around with format.
But yeah, those are my ideas.
Because you can play around with format and scale, can't you? I'd love to do like a historical fiction as well, something set further in the past, like medieval or something like that. Yeah, definitely. There's so many stories that you can pull from in reality, isn't there? Yeah. Let us know what you guys would do. Not that we're going to Zuckerberg your ideas and make that film, but I'm always intrigued to see what makes, because it reveals a lot about the people, the story that they want to tell.
Wait, so you think I'm a murderer that would murder a girl and try and hide it?
I think you already have.
Anyway, shall we go on to our last segment, which is...
last segment. Are we doing it? My film's better than yours?
My film's better than yours this time.
And this time, the genre is going to be...
Animation.
Which ties in well with our nice little Pixar chat earlier on.
Exactly.
Is Pixar out of bounds, or are we including them as well?
We're including any animation film. It could be 2D, could be 3D, could be anime.
Good. I can go for Merry Madagascar then, the Christmas spin-off that they did.
Anyway, let's
get the whiteboards.
So we had I just want to preface that we had a mad positive... I should have said this at the beginning of the podcast. We had a hugely positive, response to our first podcast and our prologue video. We're heading obviously in this new direction, and we're expecting to lose a lot of subscribers. But the outpour of support,
we should have said that at the start of the.
We should have, man. We should have.
I wanted to say as well, thank you to all the people that were straight in and downloaded the podcast and gave us some good feedback on it. And what we can work with.
The support's been incredible. You guys just have always turned up for us in the past. You've done so much for us, and we're just insanely grateful. And we just hope that this carries on and we can entertain you. But anyway,
my film's better than your film.
No, animation. My film's better than your film.
I can't choose. There's too many. Oh my God. Animation is a difficult one because you want to go based on. You don't want to go. You've chosen straight away. You're going to choose. I know what he's going to choose.
What do you think I'm going to choose?
I think you choose the Iron Giant or something like that. Okay, let me go. I'm going to go outside of the box.
You can go Iron Giant if you want.
No,
outside of the box, eh?
Yeah,
I've never heard that film before.
I'm not choosing Studio Ghibli. I'm not choosing anime or even anything spectacular. I'm choosing something that I think is great.
Yeah, and that's the point of this segment.
Yeah, but I'm not.
It's so great that
I'm not playing into the stereotypical. That's the best animation film. Akira,
Okay.
Which is a great film. It's awesome.
Right, make sure you show it to the camera as well.
Yeah,
but also me at the same time.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Wall-E, the Simpsons movie.
I wanted to think outside the box. Wall-E, Pixar.
Wall-E.
It's artsy, man. It's a great film.
My film's better than your film, Tom, because, and let me preface this before you say anything about your choice.
I fully expect to hear what Sean says about this film.
So Wall-E is not only a great animation movie done by Pixar and the work they've done and the detail that they've done in that film is just on another scale. The storytelling is heartfelt. Mm-hmm. It's intense. But what makes it so great is because the main character doesn't talk and it's a robot. So very difficult to convey any emotion or communication. Yet you feel for this character far more than any generic movie that has come out in the past, 15, 20 years.
So lots of emotion despite lack of dialogue.
Lack of dialogue, and lack of human emotion.
Yeah.
Because, the main character is a robot and you follow this robot and you really care about this robot, and only animation can really do that. But I think also only Pixar can do that to an extent.
Yeah, I agree that Pixar are at the forefront of animation, and this was the period where they were absolutely smashing it out of the park every
100%.
time.
I think Wall-E
was this before Up or was it after Up?
I think this was before Up. I think Wall-E is the best Pixar movie ever made.
I definitely didn't like it when I first watched it as a kid because I think I was
emotionally unavailable.
I don't think I appreciated the lack of dialogue and the meaning behind the film as much. But let me get you started on the Simpsons movie, Sean, because I see you all in the comments section now. I see you all listening to the podcast thinking, what the hell is this guy on about? The Simpsons movie. Well, I'll tell you all, guys.
Spider-Pig.
The problem with the Simpsons movie and the problem with people thinking about it is that it is in not just animation, but it's in a genre of film that is consistently and constantly considered to be at the bottom of the barrel or the bottom of the pile, right? And that's the genre of comedy. It's one of the hardest things to write. And this film brought back all of the original writers. I think the Simpsons movie or the Simpsons get a bad rap because of the poor or decreasing quality of the show as the years went on. But this reinvigorated it again by bringing back all of the writers, and it takes so much skill to balance comedy to the point of you're at the point where you have an effective and impactful joke every roughly 30 seconds or even less than that.
But that film doesn't have that.
It does have that.
No, it does not.
I think it does have that.
It had all the best jokes in the trailer, and there were about 3 or 4.
I think it has
the best joke was Spider-Pig.
I think it has visual jokes. I think it has well-written jokes in terms of dialogue as well. It has well-crafted characters that people know. Admittedly, people know already. But one thing about this film as well is that you have seasoned veteran voice actors that are doing 20 voices.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. You don't even need a voice actor for this movie because the story is so strong and the emotion is so vivid in the animation and comes across in the animation. You don't even need dialogue. It shits on the Simpsons movie, Tom.
You still manage to craft a kind of emotion within this, but just because you're a comedy, it doesn't mean just because one is a comedy and one is more. I mean, what genre would you?
I can't remember almost crying to The Simpsons.
I'm not saying. I'm not saying you're almost.
I remember laughing to this. I remember crying to this.
I'm not saying you're almost crying. I'm just saying that I think as a genre, comedy is very much. People are aloof about comedy. People are. Comedy is a difficult thing to balance because it's subjective. Subjective. People find it different.
Yeah.
But what this film has is comedy for everyone, jokes for everyone.
I don't think it does. I think a lot of people. The Simpsons have a very specific type of humour, and perhaps. I'd say it's almost stupid humour. But
I think also this has had. You mentioned where you brought in pop culture. I think when we were talking about The Thing and Psycho,
you brought it up.
No. You brought up pop culture. You said The Thing has had far more of an impact on pop culture, whereas Psycho may have had more of an impact on cinema. Perhaps is what you said.
Yeah.
Now I think there is not. Apart from Disney's Mickey Mouse, a single more recognisable character or aesthetic animation than these characters here.
I agree with
Wall-E,
that. Yeah.
Okay. I think even by Pixar fans, I
think you're stretching there.
Has become a little bit forgotten. Yeah,
right.
There's never going to be a Wall-E 2.
Hang
I'm not saying I want there to be. I'm not saying I want there to be sequels to every film, and that's a sign of success. But
quality,
in terms of pop culture,
quality over quantity. The Simpsons have had over 30 years to install these characters into everybody's minds. Okay, and they started in a time when they were in the right place at the right time. There weren't many channels.
It was revolutionary to have a domestic set family comedy that also had drama within it as well, which this film does. It still has drama.
So the Simpsons benefited of starting in a time when there was no real competition. Pixar were in competition with themselves. They were like you mentioned before. They were already hitting the ball out of the park with every single movie they came out with. And when Wall-E came out, it cemented itself as one of the best movies they ever made. And that was a high praise because they had already come out with so many good animation movies. So you're right, they have been cemented because it's a TV show, but they were easily cemented because they had time on their hands.
I see what you mean about being easily cemented. I do, but more popular. Yeah, popularity.
Yeah, popularity because of time.
No, I'm not about the actual film as well. I think in terms of box office and success, it's had more success in that regard. Shall we have a look?
Shall we have a look?
You have a look at the box office for Wall-E.
Yeah,
and I'll have a look at it for the Simpsons movie. Have you got your figure?
I've got my figure.
Go on. It's dollars. Oh, this must be United States. Oh, no, it must be overall. Go on.
532.5 million.
536.4 million. I'm very surprised at that.
So for a long-lasting IP to a standalone original movie, I think Wall-E beats you in this debate. And it's interesting though. Sorry,
I was trying to think outside the box. I wanted to stay. Stay away from Pixar. I think you actually look at the jokes. You look at the skill of the voice actors as well. I know you're saying it's good. It is. I agree. It's difficult not to have dialogue and still convey a story. But I think the skill of voice actors is underrated. And what I hate about modern animation is they'll stick like Kim Kardashian as the voice for a character, and you don't get those seasoned and veteran professionals that are great at having skilled, emotive voices,
energy,
or in this case, comical voices, and having the energy and have the variation. You don't get that through necessarily.
You do realise Wall-E's an animation, and they also have voice actors in it.
Yeah, they do, and I know there's. I'm just saying. I think that the skill of voice acting is demonstrated more within this.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Of characters.
But I do like the fact that you picked that, and we picked this. There was many comments in our previous "My Film Is Better Than Yours" because we picked The Thing versus Psycho. Everyone was like, "Why are you comparing these two movies?"
Yeah, we are just completing them at complete random.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting.
At first I was like, well, Iron Giant or Akira.
Yeah.
Like, or I'll just pick The Lion King, or I'll pick like, you know,
but
some
it's
kind of
interesting
Disney thing.
having
I wanted
these
to stay outside the
obscure
box.
debates because you don't see this anywhere else. I think if we picked just the same, if we picked like for example, what two films that are similar? Let's say, The Lion King and The Iron Giant.
But I do want to. I see what you mean. I wanted to echo my point about. I think comedy is
hard,
and I think people are very aloof about it. Yeah. And I think actually, it is a genre at the moment that has almost disappeared.
Yeah. From
pop culture. Like, I mean, apart from the classics, apart from the ones that people have watched, like, name me the last film at the cinema you saw that was a comedy.
Yeah, I know, it's very difficult to.
Or name me the last TV show that was a comedy that wasn't a rerun of The Office or something.
Yeah, like Community or.
That's still old, aren't they? Yeah, like people. I mean,
comedy, they'll come back.
Comedy's still quite popular. Like people will watch Friends still. It's one of the most popular shows.
Sex Education, maybe.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't say that's
it's heavily.
It's not
heavily
it's not
drama.
comedy.
It's still more heavily drama, isn't it?
Definitely.
So yeah, if I was doing Wall-E, I would have gone along the line. I would have put an argument as well in that it has something to say about the world we live in.
100%.
You know, about the build-up of the piling up of the rubbish and how they're all fat and sitting in chairs.
Yeah, Pixar always have a moral,
an eco commentary as well, and that brings us back to why I think Pixar's so good.
But doesn't The Simpsons have an eco a moral?
It does, yeah. And I should have thought about that. They put a dome around the massive town, don't they? Obviously, they do it in a more hyperbolic, exaggerated, comedic way, but it's still quite.
So funny. They're similar in that regard. But
and also, it has one line by Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks plays Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
So there you go. Sold.
You win.
Now I know what the audience will pick here. In terms of what
Simpsons
film they
movie.
think is the better animated film,
the Simpsons movie.
But give comedy a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that your final? That's your closing statement? My closing statement is Wall-E, and then there you go.
You should be a voice actor.
I am.
Yeah. Well, sign up, Sean, for your voice. Let us know as well in the comments what my film's better than your film you want us to tackle next week. Make it a bit difficult as well. Let's choose a weird genre. Let's make us think outside the box.
Yeah,
I love these random pairings.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to see.
Can't wait for the thumbnail of the YouTube video. It's going to be like Simpsons versus the Simpsons movie versus Wall-E, and people are going to be like, "What the hell?"
No, but that's what I like about it. It's just they're just so obscure. I think it's interesting to watch the other person really struggle to argue.
Yeah, I also did panic when I was choosing, but but yeah.
We'll prepare next time.
I'll think of the genre first next time.
Yeah,
but wow, good.
Thank you for watching episode 2 of our podcast.
We've only got 5 more to make it through before apparently it becomes a second nature.
Oh really?
Yeah, episode 7 of the podcast.
Episode 7 of the podcast,
which I think we got to.
Yeah, so this will be released on our Patreon page and our Buzzsprout and Spotify and Apple Music first before it's released onto YouTube. So if you're watching this on YouTube right now, the video version, link in the description for our Spotify and Apple podcast links are down below.
Join us on our quest to talk about every film ever made.
To talk about, yeah.
Not to watch, to talk about.
And we're off to go and see A Quiet Place day 1.
Like right now. Oh, wow.
Well, in about half an hour.
And
we'll be talking about that next week, or there might be a review that is released during the week. But thank you for watching, or thank you for listening.
Yeah.
And we'll see you in the next episode.
Next time.
Cheers.